My neighbor claimed my dog was dangerous for years. My hidden cameras caught what she was really doing when I wasn't home. I, 35M, have lived in my current house for about 6 years now. It's a nice neighborhood, quiet suburb, relatively friendly people. When I moved in, I brought my German Shepherd mix with me. He was just a puppy then, only 8 months old. He's always been a good dog, well-trained, and honestly the most loving companion I could ask for, especially after my divorce 3 years ago. The problem started about 5 years ago. My next-door neighbor began complaining that my dog was barking constantly when I was at work. At first, I was concerned. I didn't want my dog disturbing anyone, and I certainly didn't want him to be anxious when I was gone. I installed a dog camera inside the house to check on him during the day. Whenever I checked, he was usually just sleeping on the couch. Occasionally he'd bark at the mail carrier or a delivery person, but nothing excessive. I explained this to my neighbor, but the complaints kept coming. Every few weeks, there'd be a new issue. My dog was howling all day, barking aggressively at her through the fence, or lunging at her when she walked by. I started leaving my dog in the back part of the house where he couldn't see the street or our shared fence. I installed a white noise machine to mask outside sounds that might trigger barking. I even started sending him to doggy daycare twice a week to give the neighbors some relief days, as she called them. Nothing helped. The complaints continued, sometimes escalating to threats about calling animal control or the police. I started documenting everything, keeping a log of the complaints and my responses. I even asked other neighbors if they had issues with my dog's barking. No one else had heard anything unusual. About 6 months ago, she knocked on my door on a Saturday morning, absolutely livid. She claimed my dog had been barking nonstop from 8 a.m. until I got home at 6 p.m. the day before. The thing is, I had taken the day off work and was home all day. My dog had been with me, mostly napping or playing in the yard while I did some gardening. When I pointed this out to her, she got flustered, claimed I was lying, and stormed off. That was the last straw. I decided to install security cameras around the exterior of my house. One pointing at my front yard, one at the backyard, and one specifically angled to capture the shared fence line between our properties. I didn't tell her about the cameras. I just wanted to see what was really going on. For the first couple of weeks, nothing unusual happened. My dog would be inside while I was at work, occasionally looking out the window or barking once or twice when the mail came, exactly as I expected. The complaints from my neighbors stopped during this time, which I found strange but was grateful for the peace. Then, about 3 weeks after installing the cameras, I got another text from her while I was at work. Your dog has been barking aggressively at the fence all morning. I can't even go into my own backyard. This is harassment. I immediately checked the security footage. What I saw made my blood boil. My neighbor had come into her backyard, walked directly to the fence, and started antagonizing my dog through the window. She was whistling, making kissing noises, and tapping on the glass. My dog, naturally, got excited and started barking. She recorded this on her phone, then walked away. 20 minutes later, she returned and did it again. She did this 4 times that morning, deliberately provoking him, then immediately texting me complaints about his behavior. I was shocked. I couldn't believe someone would go to such lengths. I watched footage from previous days and saw similar patterns. She would deliberately provoke my dog, then complain about him. On days when I wasn't home and he was at daycare, she would still send complaints, despite the house being empty. I decided to confront her with evidence. I invited her over that evening, saying I wanted to discuss a solution about the dog situation once and for all. When she arrived, I simply played the footage from that day, showing her repeatedly provoking my dog. The look on her face was a mixture of shock and embarrassment. She tried to deny it at first, claiming the footage was edited or that she was just checking if the dog was okay. When I showed her multiple instances and dates, including days when my dog wasn't even home, she broke down. Through tears, she admitted that when she first moved in, she'd been attacked by a German Shepherd as a child and had been terrified of large dogs ever since. Instead of just telling me about her fear, she'd convinced herself that my dog was dangerous and had been trying to build a case to force me to get rid of him. The harassment campaign was her way of dealing with her fear by trying to eliminate its source. I was still angry, but I also felt a twinge of sympathy. Fear can make people do irrational things. We talked for a long time that night. I explained that my dog was well-trained and would never hurt anyone, but I also acknowledged her fear was real, regardless of whether it was rational. We came to an agreement. I would make sure my dog was never outside unsupervised, and I would reinforce the fence between our properties to make it more solid so she wouldn't have to see him. In return, she would stop the false complaints and actually tell me if there were legitimate issues. I also suggested she consider therapy for her xenophobia, and surprisingly, she agreed. She admitted that her fear had taken over her rationality and that she needed help. It's been 4 months since then. The relationship with my neighbor is still tense, but improving. She's actually met my dog properly now, from a distance, with him on leash, and while she's still afraid, she's making progress. She's even pet him a couple of times, though I can tell it takes all her courage to do so. The security cameras stay up though. Trust, but verify, as they say. Looking back, I wish I'd installed those cameras years ago. I could have avoided so much stress and frustration. I also wish she'd just been honest about her fear from the beginning. I would have been happy to work with her on a solution that made her feel safe, while still letting my dog live his best life. I guess the moral of the story is, when someone's behavior seems irrational or excessive, there's often something deeper going on. And always get security cameras. Edit. Some people are asking for dog tags. I don't want to post pictures for privacy reasons, but imagine the fluffiest, goofiest German Shepherd mix with one floppy ear and one pointy ear who thinks he's a lap dog despite weighing 85 pounds. Edit 2. To those saying I should press charges for harassment or sue her, I've thought about it, but honestly, I just want peace. She's actively working on her fear, and that's more important to me than revenge or money. Sometimes people deserve a second chance, especially when mental health is involved. Edit 3. Holy cow, didn't expect this to blow up. Thanks for all the awards and support. For those asking, yes, I showed her all the footage, including from days when my dog wasn't even home. She knows I have proof of everything. Edit 4. Several people have suggested I report her to our HOA or the police. Our neighborhood doesn't have an HOA, and I don't think getting the police involved would help the situation at this point. She's genuinely making an effort to change, and I believe in giving people that chance. Edit 5. A lot of you are asking if the neighbor is single. Yes, she is, and no, I am not interested. Please stop with those suggestions. This isn't that kind of story. Edit 6. To clarify something, I have no intention of getting rid of my cameras. They stay up indefinitely. Trust takes time to rebuild, and verification doesn't hurt anyone. Final update. Thanks for all the advice and support, everyone. I'm turning off notifications for this post now, as it's gotten a bit overwhelming. I'll post an update if anything significant changes with the situation. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up and share it with friends or family who might enjoy it too. Your support means a lot. And if you have any thoughts, questions, or story ideas, drop them in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. See you in the next story.